Hey guys, right now I'm just waiting for the sun to set, and I'm set up here with the polarizer on, and I got a 3-stop soft grad and defilter and a 6-stop and defilter to make a long exposure to kind of get that some of that fog in the that's filling up the valley. And I'm including all of this foreground here, which is these dead trees and these rocks, and most of my composition is going from here all the way to the mountains and a little bit of the sky because there's not much clouds going on. So right now I'm just waiting for the sun to set. I've been taking a few shots here and there, as the light changes, and we'll just wait and see what happens after the sun goes a bit below the mountains. So I'm hoping that becomes an image. I'm not really sure, because the only light we're gonna see is pretty much in the sky. Everything else is gonna be muted, but it's just simple and beautiful like that. Okay guys, so this is the image that I chose from the shoot that I was doing. And remember when I said that I always keep shooting the pictures? So this is one example where I shot this just before the sun went below, and I like the light that's coming on the foreground here, so I'm gonna use that one. And I'm getting a bit of flare, but I like it for the general effect of the image. I like what it's doing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open up my shadows and bring down my highlights just a bit, and I just do a bit of contrast and set my whites. That's already pretty good. I'm gonna pull back on the blacks a bit in this situation. I'm gonna just do a bit of vibrance, a bit of saturation. Alright, I'm gonna bring down my sharpening. I'm gonna click these two guys. Okay. And next thing I'm gonna do is I notice my horizon line was a bit off, so I'm just gonna straighten it out. Here we go. And I'm just gonna do a quick check with the healing brush tool for any spots that might have been on my sensor. Clean it up in here. I think I see a few here. In here. I think that's the spot. Usually anything that's circular. And if it always mess it up, you can come back and pick another location for the... Okay. Happy with that. Close that. Okay. Might have just been some flares, but oh well, I'm happy with that. Okay. So clarity, I might just go down on the clarity a bit to keep it softer, because it was kind of like getting this fog in the valley, so I want to keep that soft look. I don't want it to be too sharp. But if you go too much with clarity, it's obviously not nice. I just like to do it just a tiny bit sometimes, not always. Okay, just gonna bring down my highlights a bit more. Like so. Okay. Alright, so now from here I'm gonna jump into Photoshop to kind of do some finishing touches on the image. Okay, so now we're in Photoshop. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a duplicate layer. I'm gonna click duplicate layer. Okay. And I'm gonna go to filter. I'm gonna use the N1 filter, N1 Effects 10. I like the filters they have, and I like one of them specifically where they have these landscape presets that you can use. Alright, it's gonna load it into N1. Okay, so here I am in N1 Effects, and one I like is the golden hour enhancer. So I'm gonna click this here. Since this was pretty much at the golden hour light, I like what it's doing here to the overall image. So one thing I always do is sometimes here the color filter, it does warm up the image quite a bit. So if you like one part more than the other, like I noticed that in this, the blue sky is getting lost with this filter. So the beauty here with this is you have a, you can click a brush with a mask, and actually you can click this. I'm gonna select the big brush, and I'm gonna put view show mask, and now it's on paint out. So everything that I paint here, it's gonna paint it out. It's gonna, and I'm only doing it on the photo filter because this is the one that's affecting the blue sky. So I want to keep that, but I don't want it, I want to keep the warm here and maybe just touch up the fog and the sky. Everything else I want to keep it warmer the way it is. So here's what I'm gonna do. So I'll just start here painting with on the parts that are easy, and then I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna switch on, like here, I'm gonna do perfect brush. I'm gonna make it a bit smaller, and I'm just gonna go on the edge with the mountain here. What you see us doing is not painting over the mountain, it's just painting out the sky. And it usually gets it good first time. Oops, if I went a bit too far, I can just undo. Or you can click Alt, and if you click Alt it becomes a plus, and you can just correct what mistakes you did. Alright, so I'm gonna remove the, I'm gonna do also here, this part, because I want to keep the fog with the blue tone. I'm just gonna touch up here alongside this part. I mean, this does a really good job of doing that. Okay, I went a bit too much here. Come back with, fix it a bit here. I went too much. Just do one more pass over this part and do them here, and continue here. I'm doing this pretty fast. Usually if you're more careful you can get it more right. Okay, now I'm gonna turn it off just to kind of paint, turn up the perfect brush. I'm just gonna fill in the parts that I missed that are just easy. I know it's there in the middle, so I can grab them real quick without. Here we go. Okay, I think that's pretty good. I'm gonna remove the show mask, and as you can see here, before, after, before, after. So it gave me that warm glow, but it kept some of that cool blue. Now if I find that I do have to do a bit of adjustments here, so I'm gonna select the perfect brush again, and I'm just gonna paint it out here. Just do a pass here. Actually, I'm gonna go undo. Might just lower the opacity as well, maybe like 50%, and pass again. Oops, I went a bit too far. Okay, let me just view show mask, and I'm gonna come in here, fix this the best way I can. If I went too far, I'm just gonna click Alt, paint out the rocks here, here. Remember, I'm only doing this at 50%, 70% opacity, so it's not, it's just to kind of make it come in here, just perfect it, get it right. Okay. Okay, just gonna do a pass here on the mountain. Make sure none of that mountain is selected. Okay, let's, if you remove the mask, check before, after. And if you find it's a bit much, I find it's a bit much here, I'm just gonna lower the opacity on this tiny bit. That's gonna help as well. Alright, so let's check before here. Check before, after. Okay, next thing you know, I'm gonna add a filter. I'm gonna go dynamic contrast, and I'm just gonna lower this medium and large. I'm just gonna do the small, just gonna bring out all the detail here on the rocks and then the rocks here. Small and medium is what I like to do. I don't like to touch large. Before, after, you can see what that does to the rocks here. It does a nice effect. Just gonna lower the medium a bit. Just do a bit of small before. Okay. Alright, I'm happy with that. Next thing, I'm gonna add one more filter. I'm gonna do a vignette. Gonna select Big Softy, and I'm gonna lower the opacity to like 50%. I don't want it too much. Check before, after. That's pretty nice. Okay. And I'm gonna click apply. It's gonna bring it into Photoshop. Okay, so now I'm in Photoshop, and what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna do a few things. I'm gonna make a new layer, and I'm gonna select soft light, and I'm gonna switch to white, select my brush. It's already at low opacity. I'm just gonna make it smaller, and I'm just gonna do a bit of dodging here. Just gonna where I want to bring in a bit more, and it's more this part here that I want to make brighter. Actually, I can go bigger here. Okay, it's pretty nice. Okay, let's check. Okay. Make my brush a bit smaller, and gonna pass also here on the fog, because I want this to be also brighter. I want it to be like kind of like close to white, but not really, you know, just brighter. I want to show a bit more. Okay, gonna do a little bit here on the mountain as well. Just gonna make it go smaller. Just go a little bit here as well. This was like an ocean of fog. I've never seen this much fog before. Okay, so I'm gonna make a new layer. I'm gonna switch to overlay, actually soft light 2. This time I'm gonna go to black and just wanna do a little bit of burning where I just wanna create a bit of contrast, make it a bit darker. Kind of like play with dark and white stuff. Okay, I'm happy with that. Next thing you know though, I want to do a hue saturation layer, and I only want to click this icon here, and I want to boost the color here of this red stuff. Just want to give it a little bit of a boost. Pretty nice. It was really red and I just wanted to pop up before after. Okay, might do one more hue and saturation. I'm gonna click the target tool. I'm gonna select this part here, kind of the green stuff. Okay, all right, let's check before after. Okay, I'm just gonna lower the opacity on this one a bit. Might have went a bit much. Okay, that's looking nice. And next thing I'm gonna do is I want to make an overall glow to the image. So I'm gonna make a new layer of everything underneath. I'm gonna go to filter, Gaussian blur, blur, Gaussian blur. Keep it to like 20%. 23, click OK, and then I'm gonna go to image, adjustments, brightness, contrast. Gonna bring up my brightness just a bit, bring up my contrast a lot. Click OK, and then I'm gonna lower my opacity to maybe 10%, somewhere around there. If I click before, after, it's just a subtle, gives it more glow to the image. I like what it does with the warm rocks here. Okay, and last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do sharpening. I didn't do the sharpening in Lightroom. I like to do it at the end here. I click filter, other, high pass. I always keep it at 3 pixels for landscapes. Click OK. And then I switch to soft light, the blend mode. And if I zoom in here on the rocks, check before, after. It does make it a touch sharper, so if you ever print this, it looks nice. Alrighty, so that's how I edited this picture. So I'm gonna click File, Save. It's gonna bring her back into Lightroom, and we can do a before and after. Alright, so now I'm back in Lightroom, and I'm gonna show you the before and after. I already reset the original file to the straight out of the camera. So this is what we began with, and this is what we ended up with. Pretty nice. Alright, thank you guys for watching, and hope you like my video. Please subscribe to my channel or watch my other videos. Thank you.